Now, if I was to speak negatively to you guys, if every time that you opened up this app, you were like, what kind of negative thing is she going to say? You would probably stop tuning in, right? That's not why you're here. But we allow this in our lives in different capacities. We let the TV sit on. We allow ourselves to be surrounded by negative people, whether this is at work or whether in our personal relationships. And why are we standing for this? And sometimes some of us get addicted to the negative. It's a very toxic and addicting thing, this negative attitude. I had just seen somebody's comment on Facebook, and it was basically, making fun of somebody, which, anytime that there's a reel or something and you see these negative comments, what is actually being shown, you guys probably already know this, is that person's insecurity, not the person that they're commenting on, but it's their own insecurity. They're showing you what type of a person they are. They're showing you how negative they are. They're showing you how critical and judgmental they are. And what this is actually showing you is how they feel about themselves, that they're very critical and judgmental about themselves, which is why if you were to say something about it to this negative person, they would get extremely defensive, because defense is showing that they have no awareness that this is actually about them. And so they don't like it. So sometimes, let's say somebody got embarrassed by something like, you said, hey, could you, move your car and park it over here? Sorry, we're just, trying to not have people park over here. And if somebody is super insecure, they're going to get defensive about this. They're going to be embarrassed, and they're going to try and put this on something like for such a small, insignificant thing that shouldn't matter, right? It is showing this person's insecurity. And the more they go on about it, the more they're telling you. The more they're telling you all about themselves. So if, people are very concerned with what other people think. I'm not. If you know me, you know that I don't give a about anything that anybody else, any other people's thoughts in their head, even the words out of their mouth. I know that it is 100% about them, and I don't care. And if they want to project any of their negative energies to me, I'm just going to transmute it through whatever happens to come out of my body, which is more than likely going to be divine laughter, which will just cause an upliftment in me. I don't accept other people's energies. I don't accept them. I used to unknowingly accept other people's energies. People would come to me for healing. They're in my office. They got anxiety. All of a sudden they're leaving, and I'm feeling this, feeling in my body because I've been in their energy. And so because they released it in my room, and sometimes I even took it from them, it then settled on me, and then I would have to, take a couple minutes and clear that out. That's not even the case anymore. I don't even have to do that anymore because I'm in such a high vibration, and I'm told constantly, daily, that I'm protected by the divine, that I live in that place of love, and the only thing that, the only energies that can attach to you, the only low negative ones have to attach to some type of fear. And because there is no longer fear in my energetic system, like no insecurities and that kind of thing, there's nothing for them to attach to. So if somebody is trying to project something on me, it simply can't. There's no place for it to attach. So it's not going to. So if this is not the case for you, if you do take on other people's negative attachments, maybe words that they speak, things that they've said to you, just know that it is about them always, 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 100% of the time. Every single little complaint, criticism, or judgment that comes out of someone's mouth, using their words, speaking them to you, whether they're complaining or criticizing or judging you or somebody else, it's about the sender. It's about the person speaking the words and complaining and criticizing and judging. It's about them. Every single time. It is not about the person who they're speaking about. This is just giving them an opportunity to talk about themselves, essentially, more. And people will say, no, that's not the case. I don't. Okay, but it's true, and it's true every single time. So if you are complaining about somebody else and you're saying something very specific, like, well, this person does this, look at yourself, go over your life, and at what point was that you? And this is then something you have not forgiven yourself for yet. Therefore, you're seeing it like a mirror in somebody else, and you're casting out through that mirror judgment on this other person, and it's about your own unawareness, your own unhealed wounds. So once you've actually healed all your wounds, you won't judge or criticize anybody, not just because you know that you should not, because you're going to reap the karma from that in the same low frequency that you sent it out in. That karma will be returned back to you. But you won't do it because you will be so aware of yourself that you won't have judgment about anybody, because you won't even actually see it. It won't be that you're not speaking something that you're seeing, but you actually won't see it, because if it's not present in you, you won't see it in your outer world. So if you are affected by what other people think, just know that it's about them. Now, let me explain this deeper, because if you are unaware, okay, we're going to do a little exercise here. I'm going to do a little exercise. I want you to think about something that other people do, like a characteristic, something about them, like maybe, people that lie, or people that cheat, or like whatever, some characteristics. Think about it. What's something you really don't like in somebody else? Come up with it right now. Okay, now I want you to say it out loud as if that's you. So let's say it was judgmental. Okay, so that's my example. You are going to say out loud, you actually have to do this audibly, and you would say whatever that characteristic was, but say it about yourself. So say, I am judgmental, or I am a liar, or whatever the thing was. Say it out loud. Okay, how did that make you feel? Does it upset you? Does it make you feel super uncomfortable? Is it like, I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all. Okay, now if it bothered you, this is because there is an unawareness. I know, uncomfortable, right? But you need to have control of your mind. So take a moment, and in your next meditation, think about that statement. So whatever it was that you said that really bothered you, it's because this is about you. So there's somewhere in your life that you have done or are still currently doing this thing, but you don't want to see it. It's that selective blindness, but we're blind to things until we're not. So it's not that we're choosing to be blind about this. We're just actually unaware and blind about certain things when they're in our unawareness. And then when they become in our awareness, then all of a sudden we're like, oh, I see why that bothered me so much. So when you search your mind in your next meditation, and you go back and you're like, oh, okay, right, okay, let's use lying for an example. Okay, so then think about, okay, well, I lied about this, I lied about that, whatever it happens to be. And then how does that make you feel that you lied about all these things? You will be harboring some type of negative resentment or judgment towards yourself about this unawareness, about this thing that is really about you and not about the other person. Here's the best part. When you heal this, see, now that you're not unaware of it, you're aware of it, you can actually do something about it. So then all you're going to do is basically let go of the guilt and the shame that might happen to be around that thing, and do some deep inner healing. You can check out the Mental Cleanse series, the playlist on my channel here, if that would be helpful to you. It's deep subconscious soul healing, 39 different videos on different topics. So you could use that to help you out releasing that. But here's the thing. When you take the unawareness and you make it, now that you're aware, you can heal it, and then flash forward and we do this exercise 4 months from now, that thing that used to bother you is not going to bother you at all anymore. About other people, it's not going to bother you. And there'll probably be something new that bothers you, and then you can be like, oh, okay, well, I know that the last thing was about me, so this has got to be about me too, even though we always try to talk ourselves out of it, that it's not, but it is, always, 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 always. And in the end, who cares? This is your mind, this is your life, this is your happiness or not happiness. And all I can say is that when you carry judgments about other people, is because you're unaware of things that are unhealed within yourself, or there's things about yourself that you are judging and that you do not like and that you complain and criticize. And when you release that from your energetic system, you become lighter bodied and become a higher vibrational, a higher frequency being, because you're more in alignment with the divine love that exists within everything, rather than complaining and judgments and criticisms. You let that go and you just get into that alignment with the divine love. So here's another thing. So if ever, let's say you're driving on the road, you got somebody in your car and you're like, oh, look at that beautiful property over there. Oh, look at how beautiful that is. And oh, that's so nice. And then, the person you're with is like, oh, well, I don't like how they did that. Oh, well, I don't really like that part. I would never do this like that. Okay, gross. I can't even believe I just barfed out those disgusting depiction of a person, although this is true. Complainers sound like that. It's gross. And so as they're complaining about this thing, what are they doing? Are they uplifting their environment? Are they bringing goodness and happiness into their world? No. They're depleting the energy that was there between them and that other person that they were driving with before they started complaining. Also, through this judgment that they're putting out there, they are tightening themselves up with the, I don't like, right? Because it's tension in your body, you tighten yourself up, and then the divine tightens itself up and cannot flow to you, right? Because you're in a state of complaint and criticism, and that is not where the divine lives. So you have tightened yourself up and the divine cannot flow. And so as you're doing this disgusting complaining and criticism, which somebody like that, you know it, I know you do. So as you think about this and that negative thing that's being sent out, what this person is doing, and if it's you, forgive yourself, what is happening is that frequency that's being emitted through the, I don't like that, I would never do that, through the judgmental criticisms, that frequency, that exact vibration that you're sending out, you can feel it, you can think about it right now, what that feels like, is going to be returned back to you in the exact same form and frequency that you sent it out. So when you send out a critical judgment towards somebody else's, let's say, property, what is going to happen to you? You're going to have the exact same thing back on your property, no matter how wonderful and beautiful you think it is. Because this is an actual example that I have experienced, and I'm going by the most beautiful place you've ever seen, and like, what? How could somebody criticize or complain about this? How could there even be a negative comment about this? But it's because it's all perception, and it is all from mind. And the complaints that come out are about that person. The negative attitude is about that person. It has nothing to do with what they're complaining or criticizing. And when you are in a high vibrational frequency, you will have things that come and flow into your life that are of high vibrational frequency. And when you are of a negative mindset, you will have negative things. This is why avoiding negative environments, meaning people, places, things, is extremely important when you are first on this process of getting yourself into spiritual alignment. Because when someone is criticizing and complaining, they are stopping the flow of the divine love that's meant for them, meant for every single person. They're stopping that flow of divine love. So what happens when you hang out with this person all the time, this pushing that's always going out in the environment, pushing away all the wonderful things that are meant for you through the criticizing and complaining, it will affect you because you are in that environment. So don't think that you can hang out with these negative people who like to criticize and judge, that they're very judgmental and critical, and that they complain about things and people and situations and stuff all the time, and think that it will not also have a negative impact on you, because it will. However, when you get farther along and you have now cleansed out the past, you've stopped the complaining, you've stopped the judgments and the criticisms, and you are now in divine alignment, it will not have the same effect on you anymore, because you will not lower your frequency, because you would never do that once you've actually gone into alignment. So this is not when you're starting out, because it's tricky, right? When we're very first starting out doing something, we know we shouldn't judge and complain, but yet, we'll catch ourselves doing it, and then we're like, dang it, okay, I'm going to stop. And then you decide again, okay, I'm going to stop. And then you're working on it, And so when you're working on it, this is the phase that I'm talking about that is very difficult to maintain when you have a negative environment. You are going to want to escape that complaining, negative, judgmental environment, and go out on your own until you can get into divine alignment. Then here's the thing about that. Once you get into divine alignment, you will have magnetized to yourself better people that are in more alignment, that are in a higher vibrational frequency, that are more like you, because they will have just magnetized, made their way, been pulled in to your life. So the negative environment in which you used to reside won't be in alignment. It won't have the same appeal. You'll be like, wow, have I ever grown? I don't want any of that in my life anymore. And then when the complaining and the criticism and the judgments come from these people around here, you won't even be able to stand it. More than likely, you'll leave that environment, or you'll at least leave the room, or you won't participate in it, because it will be gross to you at that point. It will be the biggest turnoff that you could imagine, is being in that low frequency environment, because it is doing nothing good and bringing no happiness and bringing no divine loving enlightenment into your awareness. And so you won't any longer waste your time on it. You will welcome in the new. But in order to do this, you need to release those old energies and attachments from your environment. As I'm speaking about this, I'm certain that you have had people pop into your head. Follow what you are being intuitively guided to do. If you feel like it's time to let these people go, and I mean really let them go, cut them off, don't give them access to you. If you feel intuitively guided to do that, then you must do that. Because as long as you allow these energetic attachments in your life, which happens to people and environments and situations, things like that, situationships, whatever it happens to be, as long as you allow these, your energy is all tied up. And then you have no space in your energy to invite in the new. I'm telling you, it's how it works. You actually have to let go of and heal the old ways. Letting go of certain people, certain things, certain places, perhaps work environments, perhaps careers, to welcome in the new. And as long as you don't do that, and you remain holding on to these lower vibrational frequencies and people and places and things that are not in alignment with the divine love and that are not good for you, it'll be destructive and will cause chaos, massive chaos in your life. You'll feel so confused, and you'll have zero clarity. You'll be stuck. And when you let these go, and you must let these go, even though it's difficult, then you have this open energy channel, and then these things that are magnetizing to this new frequency pop up just like that. It's like, oh, what? In a day? What? I let this go today, and tomorrow I already have this wonderful offer? What? I let this thing go today, and today I already have this wonderful opportunity? It's that fast. But as long as we remain holding on, refusing to allow the changes, the changing times to occur, it's like holding onto a rope, and you're dragging behind something, and you're just holding and holding and holding, and your hands are raw and they're bleeding and they're hurting, and you're like, I don't want to let go. It's the only thing I've ever known. What if I let go and something terrible happens? And it's like, well, what could be worse? Your hands are bloody and bleeding and you're dragging behind this thing and you've been dragging here forever. You should have let go 7 miles ago and you didn't. And then as soon as you finally are like, okay, I'm letting it go. And as soon as you let it go and you're like, what? Oh, it's so peaceful not being dragged around by that thing anymore. My hands aren't hurting anymore. I feel so free. Oh, wow, I can actually relax. My body's not all tense because I'm not being dragged around anymore. Letting go of energies that are not serving you, that are negative, that are causing you harm or hurting you in some way, is the best decision you can make for yourself. So make that decision. It's a must. And as I've been talking, perhaps other things have come up that you feel like you need to let go of. So let's do this little tiny exercise here. Make a note or just remember it. So what pops into your head? What is the most important thing I need to let go of right now? Okay, whatever you got there. Second question. What is the second most important thing I need to let go of right now? Excellent. Okay. What is the third most important thing I need to let go of right now? Okay, last question. What is something that I'm currently not doing that I must begin doing immediately? Okay, now keep in mind, you came up with all those answers. It was you that came up with the answers. I didn't tell you nothing. You know, you intuitively know, and you just got clarification. You just got clarity on what it is that you need to let go of. So do it. It's a must. Yourself is telling yourself to do it. Nobody can do anything for you. Nobody can make any changes for you. The only person who can change you is you. So if you're waiting for somebody to come out and change you in some way or to make life better for you or they can't do it. You must do it on your own. And anyways, if somebody did do something for you, then it's tied to them. And all of a sudden, oh, this person has brought me so much happiness into my life. Yes, of course, we have wonderful blessings and we do have wonderful things come into our life. But when it's dependent upon another person, then you're not in control of whether you're going to be happy, whether you're going to all these things when it's dependent upon someone other than yourself. Changes happen when we heal the root of the issue, and the root of the issue is always a feeling of lack of love, which presents itself as a feeling of fear. Fear can represent itself as anger, sadness, resentment, blah, 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 blah. Those are your only options. So people are just walking around unaware, looking for love. How they want to be loved is perfectly. And when we're not, what happens? We allow the opposite of love, which is fear-based energies, to flow into our energetic system. And when we're living in fear, we cannot live in love. It is impossible to live in both at the same time. Because if you really believe in love, then you don't believe in fear. But if you believe in fear, you might also believe in love, but there will be fear that is wrapped around it. And it will cause all kind of damages in your life when you live from this fear-based place. If you think about fear, it causes tension, tightness, pushing away. So you could even imagine that tension, that tightness is like a force field that is keeping things away from you, right? But we do this when we are living in fear because we want to protect ourselves, because we believe we need to, because people believe in good and evil more than they believe in the love of the divine. Good and evil happens to them. It's their beliefs being made visible. So when you are living in a state of fear, it's because you have some underlying belief that is there. Like, I'm not lovable. I'm going to be hurt. I can't trust this person. I am doubting myself. Whatever it happens to be. And as you're living in that place, you cannot live in that place and also live in divine enlightenment. It is impossible. You cannot. Now, here is the thing about this. Once you get, because you will, if you're listening to this, you are on the spiritual growth path. You are seeking something. And I was told this last time when I was at the cabin, it does not matter which way you are pursuing any kind of spiritual truth. As long as you keep seeking, you will arrive at the truth. It does not matter what means you get it through. As long as you keep seeking and do not stop seeking, be prepared to eventually stumble upon the real truth and to gain your own enlightenment, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it happens. But as long as we are living in a place of fear, think about that tightness, the tension that builds up in your body when you're living in that place of fear. You are pushing all of the things away. So think about the trees, right? They don't complain, they don't criticize, they don't tighten themselves up. When it comes the end of fall and their leaves start falling off, they allow it to fall away. They let it go. They let their leaves go because they know they're going to come back. They're going to come back even more beautiful next year. They're going to be bigger and stronger than they were the year before. They're going to maybe produce more leaves, more flowers, because they're bigger than they did the year before. So they don't complain. They let winter happen. They take their rest, and they trust the entire time that spring is going to come. But at no point do they tighten themselves up and stop the divine flow from coming into their life through fear-based energies. No, they live in a state of perfect love. Human beings are the only ones that do not, those and predators. And as we're in that beautiful place of love as a tree, there is this knowledge, this awareness, this knowing that the winter is necessary and needed. So they're not complaining about it when their leaves are bare and they're sitting there and they're going through their winter period. They're not complaining about it. They don't have to tighten themselves up and live in a place of fear thinking, oh no, what if my leaves don't come back? Which that is what people do, right? This thing is ending, and so what is coming for me next? I don't even know. And then you get all stressed out because you're living from a place of fear rather than from the awareness that love is really all that exists. And when we live from that place, it will change everything for us. If you guys didn't listen to that heavenly affirmations that I made yesterday, go check that video out. So here's the deal. When we allow negative complaints and criticism, and I'm talking about anything at all. A negative person will find excuses to call names, to bully people, to judge people, to find something negative, judgmental, and critical in any scene, situation, or scenario. They will be able to muster up a fear-based observation and project it and speak it with their words out into the world, which then will be returned back to them at some point in that exact same frequency. And they will take actions as well that align with this negativity, like perhaps actually taking the action of typing out a really negative comment. You know what I'm saying? And so when we allow this in our life, in our environment, well, first of all, if you can't help it and you're going to work and you get somebody super negative, I've had many people come to me. So if you're a negative person, I want you to know that you're affecting the other people in your environment and at your work. Like you are. Because I have people come to me that are like, please help me. I have to work with this person all day long, and all they do is complain and criticize, and I love my job and I don't want to quit, but it is so hard working with this person because they're so negative. So don't think for a second, if you have a negative attitude, that it is not affecting other people's, your complaining and your judgmental criticisms. They're critically harming those in your environment and in the environment itself. Your words can carry with them destruction or life. Your words are either giving life or taking it away. They're depleting the energy that's there. So every word that comes out of your mouth, just think, is this giving life or is it depleting? What do you want to give, knowing that you're going to get it back through the karma? Do you want to give words of life or do you want to cause that depletion? And negative people are causing that depletion every time that negative frequency, that negative vibration, that negative lowly thought comes out of their mouth, using their words, speaking in their environment. And that negativity, it permeates the electrical particles that are in the environment, and it will cause the breakdown not only of that individual, of their physical body, as it's depleting the life force energy out of that person, which is probably why they complain about being tired all the time, and complain about other things, maybe physically about themselves as well, but mostly they have really low energy, and it's because of their negative critical thinking. Not only is this happening, but think about this. How many words of life could you speak in a day? Think about every interaction that you have with another person, whether this be in person or online. Every comment that you make every day or whatever it happens to be. What would change if rather than never, if you never deplete another person by putting out any kind of negativity, and I'm not talking about being negative about somebody else, I'm talking about anything negative depletes the energy in the environment. What would happen if you only gave uplifting words of life to the complainers, to all the people in your environment and into the environment itself? Like, oh, I love my house. It's so beautiful. It's exactly the way that I want it. I love my clothes. They're so comfortable. They're exactly what I love. I love my computer. I love the rainbow keyboard. It makes me happy just typing on it. I love the microphone that I'm speaking in because it's heavy duty and it's high quality. Right? We can speak words of life into our environment and words of appreciation, and it's so freaking easy to do. Or we can speak negativity into our environment and deplete the energy that is meant to be in those things. So the choice, obviously, because we have free will, is yours. So gain control of your mind and use it for good through that free will, creating only goodness and wonderful blessings everywhere that you go, because we're living in heaven and we're creating it moment by moment, thought by thought, word by word, action by action. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in here today. It's been lovely. It's been a slice. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Please like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I post daily spiritual teachings. These are all gained from several enlightenments that I've had, and keeping myself in this high vibrational divine alignment as often as possible. I think about it all day long. I love you guys, and thank you for being here, and I will see you guys next time.